The discovery. The Pacific Ocean held secrets in its depths. Dr. Elena Reyes had spent her career finding them. Shipwrecks mostly, occasionally lost cargo, once even a sunken World War II submarine. But nothing in her 15 years as a marine archaeologist had prepared her for what the sonar was showing now. "That can't be right," she muttered, adjusting the settings on the equipment. The reading remained unchanged. A perfectly symmetrical structure resting at 2,300 meters below the surface, approximately 400 kilometers off the coast of Chile. Nothing that geometrically precise occurred naturally. Elena brushed back her salt-stiffened hair and called to her research assistant. "Marcus, come look at this." Marcus Wang abandoned his water samples and joined her at the monitor. His eyes widened. "Is that what I think it is? If you think it's something that definitely shouldn't be there, then yes." The research vessel Horizon had been mapping underwater volcanic formations for the past 3 weeks. This anomaly appeared in an area that should have been nothing but abyssal plain. "We need to get a closer look," Elena said, already recalibrating the deep-sea drone. "Are you recording this?" Marcus nodded, his fingers flying across the keyboard. "Every bit." They watched in silence as the remotely operated vehicle descended through the crushing darkness. At first, the drone's lights revealed nothing but the endless blue-black of the deep ocean. Then, suddenly, something reflected the light back at them. Something smooth and metallic. "Holy!" Marcus didn't finish the thought. The drone's cameras revealed a massive structure, oval in shape, approximately 60 meters long. Despite clearly having been underwater for decades, its surface remained uncorroded, with a strange iridescent sheen that changed color as the drone's lights moved across it. "That's not one of ours," Elena whispered, her scientific mind racing through and discarding possibilities. "Not a submarine. Wrong shape. Too large. Not a sunken ship. No nation on Earth built vessels like this. Not a secret military installation. The location made no sense. Should we alert the authorities?" Marcus asked, voice trembling slightly. Elena hesitated. In her experience, once government agencies got involved, scientific discovery took a backseat to national security concerns. This find was too important, too unprecedented. "Not yet," she decided. "Let's gather more data first. I want to be certain about what we're dealing with before this becomes an international incident." 3 months later, Elena stood in a hastily constructed research facility on a remote Chilean coastal property she'd leased through a series of shell companies. The structure before her, now confirmed beyond doubt to be a spacecraft of non-human origin, rested in a massive tank of seawater, partially disassembled. The metallurgical analysis came back, Dr. Priya Sharma said, handing Elena a tablet. The materials scientist had been one of the first specialists Elena recruited. "It's a titanium-based alloy, but with elements we can't identify. The molecular structure is unlike anything in our periodic table." Elena nodded, unsurprised. Every test they'd run had yielded similar results. Technology decades, possibly centuries beyond current human capabilities. The team she'd assembled, 12 world-class scientists who'd agreed to work in absolute secrecy, gathered around the central table. Each had signed non-disclosure agreements that would bankrupt them if broken, but more importantly, each understood the historic significance of what they were doing. "Dr. Chen, any progress with the power systems?" Elena asked. The electrical engineer shook his head. "The technology is beyond me, but I've managed to isolate what seems to be a backup power cell. It's still generating electricity after what must be at least 40 years underwater." 47 years, 3 months, corrected Dr. Yasmin Al-Fayez, the computer scientist who'd been working on deciphering the ship's data systems. "I've partially accessed what seems to be a log. The ship crashed in 1976. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Almost half a century, this vessel had rested on the ocean floor, its presence unknown to humanity." "Have you been able to translate any of the language?" Elena asked. "Not exactly," Yasmin replied. but the system seems to have some kind of translation matrix built in. It's been learning from our interactions. Learning? Marcus echoed. As if responding to its name, a section of the ship's exposed control panel suddenly illuminated. Symbols appeared on a previously dark screen, shifting and changing. It does that sometimes, Yasmin explained. Usually when we're discussing the ship directly. Elena approached the panel cautiously. The symbols continued to change, eventually forming into recognizable letters. Hello. A chill ran down Elena's spine. It's listening to us. Not exactly, Yasmin said. I believe it's been running a passive language acquisition protocol. The more we speak around it, the more it learns. Elena made a decision. Let's try to communicate. She stood before the panel. Hello, can you understand me? The screen flickered. Affirmative. Systems functioning at 23% capacity. OEX as a liary intelligence on a line. Who are you? Elena asked. I am the Navigation and Systems Control Unit designate KGAR-7. You make CL me Kyre. Where are you from, Kira? Origin. TURAN Confederation. Home System. UNA availability. Due to CQRIT we porotosevas. Elena exchanged glances with her team. Why are you on Earth? Mission FAILUR. Emergency landing. INITAT deep FOLO critical damage. Crew status. Non-viable. There was a crew. What happened to them? The screen remained blank for several moments. Information classified. Dr. James Okafor, the team's xenobiologist, stepped forward. Were the crew's bodies recovered? NIJAT. Emergency Protocol 12B INITAT. All biological material processed to prevent contamination. Elena felt a chill. You disposed of your own crew. AFRMATIV. Protocol requires elimination of all EVIDNCE and EVENT of CRAsh on PREQ on Takit worlds. The implications were disturbing, but Elena pressed on. What was your mission here? Again, the screen paused. Information classified. Can you tell us about your technology? How your ship works? Limited ANFO or MATION AVALABLE for scientific EXTHANG. Restricted technologies remain classified until OFI SIL FIRST Q1 Piroto COL is activated. For the next several weeks, the team worked with Kira, learning what they could about Tauran technology. The AI seemed willing to share basic scientific principles, but refused to divulge specific applications or engineering details. Still, what they learned was revolutionary. Theories of physics that reconciled quantum mechanics with general relativity, advanced material science, and hints of faster-than-light travel. It's bizarre, Dr. Chen said one evening as the team shared a rare meal together. It's like talking to a library with most of the books locked away. Kira will explain basic principles but stopped short of anything we could actually build. It's following protocols, Elena said, probably designed to prevent less advanced species from misusing technology they're not ready for. Less advanced, Marcus repeated with a hollow laugh. That's us, the primitives. I'm more concerned about what might be locked in the ship's secure sections, James said quietly. We've only accessed about 40% of the vessel. There are sealed compartments we can't open. Elena had wondered about that too. Kira, what's in the restricted areas of the ship? TLSFIE systems and technologies. What kind of technologies? Information restricted. A new line of text appeared. Warning. Automatic Distory SS Signal activated. Power levels sufficient for terrain and session. Elena felt her heart rate spike. What distress signal? Who are you signaling? Standard recoveración. Seguinel terranes NITTE to nearest DTA an outpost. There's a Tauran outpost near Earth, Dr. Sharma asked, alarmed. Nearest monito or ATQUIP or TLT parameter. Estimated Seguinel arrival. 6.2 HOURs. And then what happens? Elena demanded. Standard recoveri torotokobel will be initiated. Salvage TM will be dispatched. How long until they arrive? Estimated arrival 47 to 52 Earth days. Dependent on availability. The room erupted into chaos, everyone talking at once. Elena raised her hands for silence. Kira, can the distress signal be deactivated? Need GATV. Seguinel protocols automated for mission-critical assets. Why now? Dr. Chen demanded. Why is it activating now after all these years? Power levels restored to minimum transmission FRES gold. Recovery BAC1 as PRIMARY survival protocol. Elena paced the room, mind racing. We have less than 2 months before aliens arrive to reclaim their property. Property that we've been taking apart and studying without permission. We need to contact our governments, Yasmin urged. This is beyond us now. Elena nodded slowly. Yes, but carefully. We need to control the narrative. The wrong reaction could be disastrous. As the team debated their next steps, the ship's main screen flickered again. New text appeared. Warning. Security we scan detectees unauthorized access to weapons systems compartment. Elena froze. Weapons systems. What weapons systems? Classified. Security violation ETCTE. Initiating containment protocols. Suddenly, all the lights in the facility went out, plunging them into darkness. Emergency generators kicked in seconds later, but the ship's systems remained powered down. What just happened? Marcus asked. I think, Elena said slowly, we just discovered why the Taurans are so desperate to get their ship back. The confrontation. The United Nations Security Council emergency session was called to order at 3:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Representatives from all major world powers had been summoned with minimal explanation, only that an unprecedented situation requiring immediate attention had arisen. Elena stood before them, exhausted after 72 hours of non-stop briefings with military officials, scientists, and government representatives. Her discovery had escalated faster than she could have imagined. The vessel contains technologies decades beyond our current capabilities, she explained, showing slides of the ship's recovered systems. But more concerning is what we've recently discovered. The screen behind her showed scans of the sealed compartment. This section contains what the ship's AI refers to as classified weapons systems. Before shutting down, it initiated security protocols to prevent access. What kind of weapons? Asked the Russian representative. We don't know exactly, Elena admitted, but based on the power requirements and shielding, they appear to be highly advanced, possibly planet killers. The chamber erupted in overlapping voices. The Secretary General called for order. Dr. Reyes, the Chinese delegate said when quiet returned, you're telling us that aliens are coming to Earth to reclaim a warship that crashed here nearly 50 years ago. Yes, the Tauran Confederation, according to the ship's eye. And they'll arrive within. The British representative checked her notes. 39 days. That's the current estimate. What do they want? Asked the American delegate. Their ship, Elena replied simply. And specifically, whatever weapons systems it contains. The AI was extremely protective of that section. When we attempted to access it, the entire system shut down. The French representative leaned forward. Dr. Rice, in your expert opinion, what are our options? Elena had prepared for this question. Option 1. We return the ship intact and hope the Taurans are peaceful. Option 2. We attempt to salvage what we can from the vessel before surrendering it. Option 3. We refuse to return it and prepare for possible conflict. With a species that possesses interstellar travel and planet-killing weapons, the Indian representative asked incredulously. That seems unwise. There is a fourth option, Elena said carefully. During our communications with Kira, the ship's eye, it occasionally referenced something called the Galactic Council. From context, it seems to be some kind of interstellar governing body that oversees relations between spacefaring civilizations. Are you suggesting we appeal to this council? The Secretary General looked skeptical. Potentially. If we can reactivate the ship's communication systems, we might be able to send a message. Asking for what? Protection. The Russian delegate scoffed. We'd be going over the Taurans' heads to their authorities. That could make the situation worse. Not necessarily, Elena countered. Some of the logs we deciphered before the shutdown suggested the Taurans might be operating outside Council regulations. This ship may contain illegal weapons technology. Discussions continued through the night. By morning, the Security Council had reached a tentative agreement, a two-pronged approach. They would prepare a diplomatic welcome for the Taurans while simultaneously attempting to contact the Galactic Council. Military forces would stand ready, but hidden, a last resort. Elena returned to the facility with a new mandate and significantly more resources. Government scientists from a dozen countries joined her team, working around the clock to reactivate Kira without triggering further security protocols. The problem, explained Dr. Shigeru Tanaka, a quantum computing specialist brought in by the Japanese government, is that the AI views us as potential threats to its security systems. We need to convince it we're allies. How do we do that? Elena asked. By speaking its language, Dr. Tanaka replied, connecting a newly designed interface to the ship's primary data port. The approach worked. After 3 days of carefully calibrated inputs, Kira's systems flickered back to life, though many functions remained locked down. Security protocols active. Limited functionality available. Kira, Elena said carefully, we need to contact the Galactic Council. Can you help us? Unauthorized request. Council communication requires command authorization. The Tauran recovery team is coming, Elena pressed. We need to speak with council representatives before they arrive. Negative. Recovery operations are standard protocol. Elena tried a different approach. Kira, we've analyzed the ship's logs. We know the Taurans were testing prohibited weapons technology. The council would want to know this. The system paused longer than usual. Information insufficient. We found remnants of quantum phase technology in the sealed compartment. According to your own records, such technology is prohibited by Council Directive 5923. Another long pause. Analyzing. Verification required. The logs don't lie, Kira. Your own data shows the Taurans violated Council laws. If they recover this ship, that evidence disappears. Analysis complete. Council regulations NDICAT POT into lial violation. AC assessment. 86.7%. PRWBABILITY of Origulatoroi variation. Will you help us contact the council? Dial MADTCD. Primarily loyalty protocols KONFFLIT with KONCL adherence requirements. Elena held her breath. Resolution. Limited communication access granted. Emergency channel only. The next 12 days were spent composing a careful message to the Galactic Council, with Kira's reluctant guidance. The AI provided crucial context about Council protocols, helping them frame their case in terms the Council would understand. How do we know the Council will even care about us? Marcus asked as they finalized the transmission. We're not members. According to Kira, the Council has strict regulations about contact with developing worlds. Alina explained. If the Taurans are violating those regulations, they'll intervene, not for our sake, but to maintain their own laws. The message was sent on day 25. A tight beam transmission directed at coordinates Kira provided. Whether it would reach the Council before the Taurans arrived remained uncertain. On day 38, 9 days before the estimated arrival of the Tauran recovery team, Earth received its answer. Alina was woken by frantic calls in the middle of the night. By the time she reached the facility, every screen was displaying the same message, not just their monitors, but television broadcasts worldwide, cell phones, computers, all showing the same text in every human language simultaneously. ATENTYON civilization designate Earth. Galactic KONCL AKNNHOBLEGs RECEIPT of emergency communication. Investigation INITI KD. Maintain QRENT position of DISPUTEDASSET. Council Representative EN wrote. East time ATE Arrival. 3 planetary rotations. Teuran Confederation. No TIFIED of PROCEDINGs. They received our message, Alina breathed. And they're coming here, Marcus added, before the Taurans arrive. The next 3 days were a blur of preparation. World leaders debated how to receive the Council representative, military forces remained on high alert, and billions of humans confronted the reality that they were not alone in the universe. When the Council ship arrived, it appeared without warning, simply materializing in Earth orbit. Unlike the sleek, predatory lines of the crashed Tauran vessel, the Council ship was massive and crystalline, refracting sunlight in dazzling patterns. A single envoy descended to the facility where the Tauran ship was kept. The being was humanoid but clearly alien, tall and slender with 4 arms and skin that shifted colors like an octopus. It, or rather, they, as the translator indicated no Earth gender equivalent applied, called themselves Arbiter XL. I have reviewed your evidence, Cell stated after examining the Tauran vessel. The Tauran Confederation has indeed violated Council regulations regarding prohibited weapons development and unauthorized contact with pre-integration species. What happens now? Elena asked. The Council will impound the vessel as evidence. The Tauran Confederation will face sanctions. Cell tilted their head, skin shifting to a thoughtful blue. As for Earth, the situation is unprecedented. Your species was not ready for contact, yet here we are. Will you help us if the Taurans attack? The Secretary General asked bluntly. That will not be necessary, Cell replied. The Tauran recovery vessel has been intercepted and detained. However, your discovery has forced an acceleration of Council protocols regarding your world. Meaning? Elena prompted. Earth will be formally recognized as a developing civilization under Council protection. No species may interfere with your natural development. However, Cell added, knowledge cannot be unlearned. The technology you have already discovered from the vessel is yours to develop, though the Council will monitor its application. Elena processed this. You're saying we get to keep what we've learned, but you're taking the ship. Correct. The Council will also establish a small monitoring outpost beyond your moon. Direct contact will be minimal until your civilization reaches specific technological benchmarks. And if we don't want a monitoring outpost? The American representative asked suspiciously. Zell's skin rippled with what the translator indicated was amusement. Your species is remarkably direct. The outpost is non-negotiable, but its presence will benefit Earth. It will deter other potential violations of Council regulations regarding your world. After lengthy negotiations, an agreement was reached. The Council would remove the Tauran vessel but provide Earth with detailed scientific information equivalent to what Elena's team had already discovered, legitimizing their findings while removing the more dangerous technologies. As the Tauran ship was prepared for transport, Kira's systems came fully online one last time. Systems transfer INITIATE. Preparing for Taiwan CLCUS.dy. Will you be deactivated? Elena asked the AI, feeling an unexpected attachment to the enigmatic intelligence. Negative. Primary QN and CIOUSNESS will be preserved as TSTIMNONI. I want to thank you, Elena said. Without your help, we couldn't have contacted the Council. Gratitude unnecessary. Adherence to highest GOVE or nying protocols required. A new line appeared. Assessment int. Earth civilization. Demonstrates unexpected potential. Recommendation FILET with TONCL. Accelerated monitoring for possible early integration status. What does that mean? Elena asked. Translation. Your species impressed me. I told the council you deserve WHing. Velina smiled. Is that a compliment? AFFIRMATIV. Farewell, Dr. Elena Ruiz. As the Council ship departed with the Tauran vessel secured in its hold, humanity faced a new reality. They were not alone. And now the galaxy knew they existed. The technology they gleaned from the crashed ship would advance Earth sciences by decades, and Council protection meant they could develop without interference. Do you think we'll see them again? Marcus asked, watching the shimmering Council ship diminish against the stars. I'm certain of it, Elena replied. But next time, we'll be meeting them as equals, not as primitives who got lucky. I wouldn't call it luck, Marcus said. You found that ship. You assembled the team. You figured out how to contact the Council. Humanity didn't just get lucky. We proved ourselves. Elena nodded, looking up at the night sky with new perspective. The universe had just become much larger and more complex, but humanity had shown they were ready to face it, not through military might or advanced technology, but through intelligence, diplomacy, and the courage to reach beyond their world. The salvage rights to one crashed alien warship had just bought humanity a seat at the galactic table.